Namaste, I am Ellie Orion, spiritual mentor. In this video, I'm going to talk about influence of past lives on soul contracts between children and parents. And I'm going to share 3 different examples from 3 different energy scans that I did for my clients, in order that I provide you with 3 different circumstances of relationship between children and parent. So maybe you can associate yourself and heal through these experiences that I'm sharing today. So, soul contract between parent and a child is the most sacred contract that exists in the universe. And we can all somehow integrate the information, because even if we don't have children, we are all somebody's child. And sometimes when we perceive from our earthly perspective, something that our parents or our children do might seem brutal and we might not understand it. But what I understood from my energy scans, when we tap into different past timelines, when we understand the soul contract between a parent and a child, then we can truly fulfill our mission, fulfill the contract, and also understand each other more, and of course integrate the lessons. Something that's very important to mention before we jump into these examples: sometimes a soul contract can be fulfilled, but it can happen that you again incarnate with a child or a parent in the same dynamic, in the same role, if after the soul contract was fulfilled, you didn't integrate the lesson. In my energy scans, it is very rare that I scan that a person that works with me already met their parent or their children in the same role. So usually the dynamic changes. And in the cases when the soul contract is fulfilled, but the lesson is not integrated, then the incarnation repeats itself. And that is brutal information, because of course that is one of the most significant reasons why we decide to incarnate on planet Earth in family systems such as parent and children role, because in other galactic systems it's not like that. But here we can learn very quickly, and the main focus of our soul evolution within those systems of soul contracts with our family, parents and children, is that we integrate the pain, the love, the joy, the lessons. So if we don't integrate, the incarnation is repeating itself. And one beautiful example that I had recently with a woman that worked with me. So I started to tap into her energy body, and she did with me energy scan higher self. And in this energy scan, I tap into your mission, your purpose, but also relationships and energy connections with the people in your life. Because we cannot live and we cannot optimize or live fully, or we cannot thrive in our mission if we don't work on soul contracts in our life. So partners or parents or children or cousins or someone who is very, very active in our soul journey. So when I started with her, the first information that I got from my guides, because I work with visions and clairaudience, claircognizance, clairsentience, I started to use all of my clairs. And for her, I tapped in, and my guides told me she's one of many, but she wants to be the chosen one. So I started to give her this information as I'm basically channeling what I'm reading from her energy body. And I said that the dynamic, how she's perceived by the higher frequency, or how I see her with my clair ability, that she's one of many. And she confirmed that indeed she did grow up with lots of people surrounding her. And then I jumped into one of her energy centers, because when I am channeling information from past timelines, something that we are basically, something that we took over into this incarnation, something that we have to integrate, I usually find it in one of the energy centers, one of the chakras, that is influencing that particular part of our life that the soul contract or the mission is, or the lesson is connected to. So I started to channel this past life incarnation information that she was abandoned by her family, and that her parents and her mother basically decided that they cannot take care of all of them, everyone in the family, and they decided that they are going to, in a way, leave her behind. So those were the circumstances, which of course are never easy circumstances for a family. But in order to process it in a way that's easier and not so traumatic, she processed it and understood it as, oh, they're just forgetful, or they're just lack of empathy, but they're gonna come back. So that is why I perceived her as one of many, but wants to be the chosen one. And the beautiful thing is that confirmation came for this beautiful client, because she said, my mother left me. She was very young when she got me. So she left me with other family members, and she then talked about these very deep emotions, how she felt abandoned on a soul level, and she never got to know her in a way that she needs to be truly emotionally connected. And then I understood, as I was scanning her, that her mother did not abandon her. Her mother chose her twice. She chose her twice in two similar incarnations, because sometimes we choose souls to be our children because we need them to show us what strength is, what forgiveness is, what love is, the stability and the discipline. Sometimes it truly does come to parents through the experience of a child. So that was for me so beautiful, that synchronization. And then when I jumped into her sacral center, connected to creativity and the mission and the purpose, my guides told me she's got a book in her. She needs to write a book. And when I asked, what is this book about? They said it's about her mother. And that information came through as the first information that I channeled, even before I started to scan my client. So imagine how beautiful that is. And then I started to channel a structure of this beautiful book for her, how in the beginning she needs to write as an observer, and then she needs to jump into the book talking about her mother. And the beautiful messaging was, how do you write a book about a woman you don't know? And what came through was, until you come to the part where you talk about her, you're going to become her friend. And that session for me was so beautiful. So I was so thankful that I get to experience such beautiful soul contract and the healing that this beautiful woman got through my messages. And then I was very emotional after I finished this energy scan, and I decided to have a walk to ground myself and, to release all the emotions, because it was for me also very, very tough to acknowledge everything between soul contracts. And I am witnessing every day that love is real, and that's not easy. And I'm just walking in the evening and I bump into something. And what it was this book. So I bump into this book and I pick it up, and it's of course on German because I live in Vienna and we speak German here. The book is called Me, Your Mother. What parents can't say and what children don't want to hear. So I was overwhelmed. And I immediately took a picture and sent it to this client, and I said, oh my God, this is synchronicity. You're loved, you're taken care of. Universe is listening. And every time we heal, it's not healing only for us, it's healing for the collective. So because I was so impressed by this beautiful synchronicity, I somehow felt that I have to read the end of this book. So I'm going to read it to you now because it truly is going to help parents and children. I want to be your friend, even if I never acknowledge that. Hurry up, be my friend, before my hair turns white and my heart weakens. I will try not to carry so much guilt, and I hope that you will do the same. I don't know what future brings, but please remember this. I forever cherish your childhood with immense joy. And what about you? And when I read that, I just understood. Oh wow. So in the higher realm and the guides and the soul contracts, there is so much. It's so sacred and it's so real. So I do inspire all of you to work on your soul contracts with the parents and the family and the children, because it's going to transform your life. And the beautiful thing that this client, after I told her she needs to write a book about her mother, she said, oh, I want to write. She was even like preparing herself to do that. So our soul mission is observed, and our need to live fully is acknowledged. But sometimes we truly have to acknowledge other people in our life in order to heal and change this world. So this was the first example. Now I'm going to tell you about second example. This energy scan was very interesting because it was between a woman, and the soul contract that I scanned between a woman and her father. So I did soul journey energy scan with her. So that means that I am basically tapping in different timelines and we are figuring out what is there that needs healing. So I understood for her that there was one past incarnation with her father. And in that incarnation, her father took her out of his will. So she was left with nothing. And on a soul level, she was asking herself, and that was possibility or a need to integrate this information. What was taken from me and what was given? Because what if I was released by this? What if by not getting this land or a piece of real estate or something that, is a part of, or something that defines me and keeps me restricted, what if I have received freedom? And she confirms me that recently she had the same situation with her father in this incarnation. She was left out of his will, and the sons, her brothers, have received stuff, things, but she didn't. So that was beautiful to see. A proof that soul contract can be fulfilled, but the lesson was not integrated. So the client had this opportunity with me to understand, wow, so this is brutal. The same incarnation repeated itself. But now the father was not active participant in leaving her out of the will. He was diplomatic about it. He was like, oh, that's not really my thing. Someone else is gonna deal with that. Because soul lesson was, you need to be free. You are not abandoned. No, nobody's taking anything from you. You're just being freed. Because sometimes when you get land, we are stuck, we are connected with it. And also relationships, a lot of relationships are suffering because of wills and land and real estate. So she truly has received and integrated, and of course now she can heal, now she can integrate. The third example that I would like to share was my client, very disciplined, very strong willpower, and I scanned when I was doing a higher self scan with her. I understood that soul contract between her son needs to be cleared in order that she integrates and heals. And I gave her this information that in one past life, her son, the soul who is now her son, was her student. She had a teacher role. And that's what I said. It's very rare that children and parents repeat the dynamic, only when the lesson was not integrated. So in the past life, the soul was a student and she was a teacher. And after she retired and she got older, that little boy, who was now a man, came and found her in order to thank her. And he said, "Thank you so much for sacrificing, for effort, for knowledge. Thank you for the wisdom. I just wanted to acknowledge you." And what she perceived as her own shyness, or she didn't want it to stand out, and she was very subtle, she wasn't able to receive acknowledgement, and she dismissed it. She said, "Oh, no, that's nothing. No, I did not do such thing. It was just because of my knowledge of English language." So she dismissed the knowledge and the effort, and she said, "I only provided that because I was able to speak English." And when I gave her that information, she was like, "Oh, wow," and told me that 10 days before we did energy scan, her son asked her, "Mom, can we please," and he's young, "can we please speak English at home?" And their native language is Croatian, so it's a very weird question to ask. But he understood on a soul level, how do I support my mother? How do we heal mutually? And it was by speaking English. And she also told me that sometimes when they have some school projects, or she needs to pick him up at a specific time, he would keep repeating, "And Mom, don't forget, pick me up, at that time, don't forget." And she understood that as his insecurity, but it was actually him doing his best to support her, that she supports him, so she doesn't abandon him, so she doesn't forget, so he doesn't feel dismissed again. How beautiful. And it's so, it's a privilege to do energy scans with humans, with parents especially, who are finding and opening up themselves for tools to truly raise new age souls. It's beautiful to see. And something that I want you to take away from this: listen to your children. No matter how subtle the need or the wishes, listen to them, because they know. And I'm talking to you, children. No matter if you are in your youth, or you're 50 or you're 60, you're still a child. Always rely on the love, and never start your assumption that your parent did not do their best for your highest good, because on a soul level they always do. And that is something that I will leave you with. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you want to work with me and do energy scans and optimize your life and transform your reality and learn how to truly surrender to love and understand your relationships and soul contracts in your life, you can always contact me at orionelli@hotmail.com. Until we meet again, Namaste.